All right, my friends, here we are, Saturday, August the 15th, 2026, the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. Welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. And as we begin every show, let's begin with some big thoughts. Let's make today a great day. And how do you make your day great? It's simple. You look to the good. There is a lot of good in the world. The world is filled with good. I'm sitting in my kitchen, not in my studio downstairs today. I see beautiful trees. I see an American flag. I see green lawns. I see people out walking. I see flowers. I see things in my own kitchen that I'm thankful for and grateful for. I see pictures of my son and my grandchildren and my daughter-in-law. I see a picture of my wife. There's so much to be thankful and grateful for. So you make your day great by taking those good things and cherishing them in your heart and thinking of those things when things don't necessarily go your way. Oh my goodness, it's a bad day because something happened bad to me, so I have to be miserable to everyone else. That's just not the way to make your day great. It's not the way to live a life. Find the good, cherish it in your heart. But I know there are some that say, Dr. Sem, there is no good. There's nothing good anywhere. I can't find a sliver of anything. Never mind that you're watching a podcast, which means you must have technology. You probably are sitting in some climate-controlled room. You probably have a cup of coffee or some water or a soda or something as you're munching on some food. So there's a lot of good right there. But anyway, if you can't find any good, go create your own. Go do something nice for somebody else. Then you're creating good. Then you can cherish that good in your heart. And then you're going to have a great day. Also, remember that when we give love, kindness, empathy, understanding, compassion to others, those attributes come back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. So I'm recording this here, my dear friends, on Wednesday, the 12th. So I have no idea at all what is happening with the Yankees on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. But they are winning games. I did the game summary for Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankee site there is. I did it for the game last night. That article ran this morning. Remember, we have articles every single day at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. We do that religiously. We've been doing that religiously since 2017. Nobody puts out the great original content on the Yankees primarily, but on baseball as well as we do. Nobody else does it as well as we do. Zero. Nobody. And we put out those 3 articles every single day. We are like a machine because we are a machine. It's me and a great staff of phenomenal writers. They're all good people. There is no talking point for Start Spreading the News. Each writer writes his or her own opinions and backs them up with logic and facts. It's a great site. If you haven't checked out Start Spreading the News, go there now, www.startspreadingthenews.blog. And you can, of course, find this podcast on there as well. But the Yankees are winning games. That's what I wrote about in my game summary. I should pull that summary up because I have a great point in there. Of course, I think it's a great point. I wrote it. So let me see if I can get that pulled up real quickly here. The Yankees, when they're winning, they're not scoring any runs. They're not scoring runs at all. The offense is miserable. I'm not convinced that the players the Yankees acquired at the trade deadline to improve the offense are really going to improve the offense. One of the things I said was, if the Yankees make deals, I hope they get guys that are absolutely good. Not kind of good, not might be good, not are occasionally good, not are good if they're against a right-handed pitcher, or are good if they're against a left-handed pitcher, or are good if they're against a right-handed pitcher who throws mostly fastballs on Saturdays and day games. That's what the Yankees do. They find these guys that you have to squint and stand upside down and parse statistics, use a slide rule, find all sorts of interesting ways to come up with an argument that that guy is good. Or you can go out and get a really good guy who's just a good baseball player, and everybody goes, yeah, he's really good. The Yankees don't get those kinds of guys anymore. So I'm not convinced that the guys the Yankees got are going to measurably improve their offense. But what we are seeing with the Yankees is that they have tremendous pitching. And a lot of them throw fastballs. So maybe we ought to call them, instead of the Bronx Bombers, the Bronx Burners, because they're burning those fastballs in there and getting guys out. The pitching is what's carrying this team. If the pitching was mediocre, this team would be floundering. But they're not floundering because the pitching has not been mediocre. What I wrote in my article here was just going back a couple of days. And again, I'm recording this on Wednesday, but on August 4th, the Yankees allowed 1 run. On August 5th, they allowed 3 runs. On August 7th, they allowed 2 runs. On August 8th, they allowed 4 runs. On August 9th, they allowed 2 runs. On August 11th, they allowed 1 run. Those are the days. There were some days off in there. But those are their last, 6 games. And it's really been that pattern for the last month or so. I've noted that the swoon is over. They're winning ball games. And they're winning, though, not because of great hitting. They're winning because of great pitching. And I have made the argument that the great pitching that the Yankees have could carry them to a world championship. That's how close they are. It's not comfortable. It's not fun. It's not the Yankee way as it used to be. Go out, get a great team, build a great team, make a great team even better by bringing in even greater talent, and just unapologetically try to be the best year in and year out. That's really not what they're doing anymore. But what they have done is built a starting rotation with really good pitchers and a bullpen with less than good pitchers who are all pitching over their head, and they're pitching great, and great pitching can carry you a long, long way. The great pitching could do it. So, hey, who knows? It's good stuff. I want to talk about George Lombard in a minute, but before we do that, let me give a quick commercial. This program, as you know, is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia Publishing has a great selection of phenomenal books. Those phenomenal books run across the gamut, many different genres, a host of different authors, fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, realistic fiction, sci-fi, motivational. I mean, they have books across any interest. Go to apbooks.net. They're also all over Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everywhere else. But go to apbooks.net and you will find your next favorite book. And that next favorite book might be written by me. They've published The Least Among Them. They have published From Compton to the Bronx. They have published 365.2, Going the Distance, A Runner's Journey, which is selling like hotcakes right now. If you need to be motivated, get that book. And they're, of course, selling the world's greatest novel ever written, Scattering the Ashes, which is also now an audiobook. And it's also now on Spotify. That's right. Narrated by me. You can go to Spotify and listen to the greatest novel ever written by me, and narrated in a professional studio by me, the new professional voice talent. They also, and I always say this each week, I need a better graphic, have my newest book, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. Go get that. Go to apbooks.net. All right, let's jump into a little discussion about George Lombard. George Lombard Jr. is off to a great start. At least he was as of Wednesday. He's hitting .286. Among all the players in the Yankee batting order last night, meaning Tuesday night, Now, granted, it's a much smaller sample size, but he has the highest batting average. That's saying something. He's also playing phenomenal shortstop. And when I urge the Yankees for caution, I get laughed at. People tell me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I do like when people who don't know what they're talking about tell people who know what they're talking about that they're wrong. Over the years, I've tried to educate people on Start Spreading the News. When they were trying Jazz Chisholm at third base, his footwork was atrocious on certain plays. And I was showing and mentioning, like, he doesn't know where to put his feet. He doesn't know how to cover the bag. He is a neophyte. And a neophyte can play a position. Sure, anybody could. Any major leaguer could. But he can't play it at a championship level. And I would show video and say, look right here. Here's a picture. And they tell me, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. So I love when people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when I do. There's a lot I don't know. And I've been wrong a lot. We all are. But sometimes we know what we're talking about. And like we have seen in regard to George Lombard Jr., the Yankees hype prospects to the nth degree. And it's not even this current Yankee organization. This is what they've been doing for a long time. I was out with a friend the other day and we were talking about the Yankees. And he said, you know, the Yankees hyped Bobby Mercer. And I said, that's a great point. And Bobby Mercer had a great career. In fact, if you read my Yankee book, The Greatest Yankees by Uniform Number, and you read all the way to number 1, which is one of the last chapters because we count down from 99 to 1. But if you read that wonderful book, which you can get at apbooks.net or on Amazon or at any fine bookseller, and if they don't sell it at your bookstore, your local bookstore, you tell them, get that book in. Why aren't you carrying all the books that Paul Semendinger wrote? You should. You can't have a legitimate bookstore without Semendinger's books. What are you doing? Or not. But anyway, he was the greatest Yankee in number 1. At least I make the argument. Bobby Mercer had a great career. Or at least a very, very good career. He played for a long time. He did a lot of good things. But he wasn't Mickey Mantle. And this is the problem. When you tell the fans, Jason Dominguez is going to be the next Mickey Mantle, a switch-hitting outfielder with power, or Bobby Mercer is going to be the next Mickey Mantle, or George Lombard Jr. is going to be the next great Yankee shortstop, you're setting a bar that's almost impossible for people to reach. So when Bobby Mercer's career ends, people don't say, you know, Bobby Mercer had a really good career. They go, what a disappointment. He wasn't Mickey Mantle. As if anybody's Mickey Mantle. In the history of the Yankees, only 3 players have accumulated more than 100 WAR as a Yankee. Only 3. Those players' names are Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Mickey Mantle. You can have a heck of a career. You can have Aaron Judge's career and not be Mickey Mantle. Let me see what I can do here. Let me just see if I can pull up all-time WAR. To make this point even more. Let's see. Mickey Mantle, I'm sure he had over 100. Yeah, 110.3. So are you ready? Let's just have some fun. You can have Christy Mathewson's career, and you're not as good as Mickey Mantle. You can have Mike Schmidt's career, Greg Maddux, Albert Pujols, Joe Morgan, Lawrence Fahn, Carl Yastrzemski, Cal Ripken Jr., Roberto Clemente. You can have all of their careers, and you wouldn't be Mickey Mantle. I could go down. You could have Chipper Jones's career, Ken Griffey Jr.'s career, Fergie Jenkins. You could have Nolan Ryan's career, Justin Verlander, Rod Carew, Clayton Kershaw, Tom Glavine, Pete Rose, Kurt Schilling, Joe DiMaggio. You could have Robin Yount's career, Ozzie Smith, Mookie Betts. And you're not Mickey Mantle. You get the point? If you set the bar at Mickey Mantle, you can be one of the greats, and you're not going to be Mickey Mantle. And so in the eyes of the fans, you're going to be a disappointment. And I'm already seeing the Yankees. This is what upsets me. This is what gets me upset. I'm already seeing them using George Lombard Jr.'s face on their ads during the game. Hey, don't forget to watch the upcoming series against the Seattle Mariners, where the Seattle Mariners will highlight player X and we'll highlight George Lombard Jr. You just don't do that. All you're doing is setting him up for failure. You can't say he's going to be the next Derek Jeter. That's what they did about Anthony Volpe. And I've made this point that the Anthony Volpe hate wasn't directed at Anthony Volpe, and nobody hated him anyway, but it wasn't directed at Anthony Volpe. It was directed at the Yankees and the way they handle their prospects. And I said when they brought Volpe up, just leave him at number 9 and let him acclimate to the major leagues. And the Yankees didn't do that. They started jerking him all over the lineup. And they're starting to do that already with George Lombard Jr. They're moving him up, up, up. And when you do that, you're telling the kid, we don't just want you to acclimate and figure out Major League Baseball and how to hit Major League pitching. We need you to be a linchpin, a cog in our offense. And as you're trying to figure out how to hit Major League pitching, if you now have the added pressure of having to perform to help carry the team's offense, that's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different expectation. And you shouldn't do that to your young kids. I wrote an article about this the other day. Derek Jeter, when he came up, batted 9th, primarily for a very long time. Alex Rodriguez, and both of them were better minor league hitters than George Lombard Jr. Alex Rodriguez batted 9th. Those managers, those organizations at the time said, let's let the guy acclimate and figure it out before we put any pressure on him. We'll bat him last in the lineup. And there's this argument that batting 9th is more pressure. No, it isn't. Have you played baseball? Come on. When you go play, whether it's baseball or softball, slow pitch, fast pitch, whatever it is, and the manager makes up the lineup, if he puts you last, you're not going, wow, that's pressure. I got a lot of pressure because the number 1 hitter is behind me. No one ever in the history of ever thought that. Let the kid bat 9th. The Yankees started him at 8th, so let him bat 8th if that's what you have to do. Fair enough. Bat him 8th and leave him there. Don't make him the guy you're going to promote. Come see George Lombard. Don't put him higher up in the lineup. Let him acclimate. Many, 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 many great players, or could have been great players, are put in situations that are much too demanding at the start. And then the pressure puts them in situations where they develop bad habits. They get out of the habits that made them reach the major leagues in the first place. They try to do too much, and then they ultimately fail. The Yankees have made that mistake 45,622 times. I'm hoping they don't make that mistake with George Lombard Jr. And yes, there's a difference between batting 6th and batting 7th. There is. Again, if you play the game, if you're in a lineup, if you've been part of competitive baseball or softball, you know there's a difference. You know it because there is. If there wasn't a difference, then teams would just throw players all over the lineup every day. Let the kid acclimate. Don't put pressure on him. He seems to be the real deal. Let's let him be the real deal. All right, let me do another quick little ad here. We've got Sunbury Press. Sunbury is the publishers of my wonderful West Point at Gettysburg series. Volume 1 is out. I am currently writing Volume 2. It is going great. As you know, I was asked to go back to work last year. I served as a principal, and then they wanted me to stay on as the superintendent of schools. It was a phenomenal experience. But it was like, 8 months, 9 months of work. And when you're working full-time and running a school district, you're not finding the time. At least I wasn't. It was impossible for me to do the deep type of research I need to do for a book like West Point at Gettysburg. So I ended up 6 months behind in where I wanted to be in my progress there. But I'm now on Volume 2. I'm writing these great biographies. I just did Winfield Scott Hancock. So many interesting people. So many. Each of these soldiers has a story to tell. West Point at Gettysburg tells the story of every single West Point graduate who was part of or fought at the Battle of Gettysburg. I have been sharing some of my favorite games with all of you these last couple of weeks, so I figured I'd bring another one. If you have kids, even if you don't, this game, Tenzi, is absolutely fun. You can see there's all these different colored dice, right? It's Yahtzee, but easier. And Yahtzee that you play at the same time. And it's a game where it's just fun. What you do is you take your 10 dice and your opponent takes his 10 dice, and any number of people can play. I used to play this game with hordes of kids. Hey, Dr. Sem, can we have lunch with you in your office? Sure, come on in. We'll go in the conference room. And they'd eat and I'd eat or whatever. And then we'd say, what do you want to play? You want to play Tenzi? Yes. And you just roll. Like one kid says, let's all get fives. And you just roll your dice until you get 10 fives. First roll, there's 3. Put them off to the side. Next roll, there's 2. Put them off to the side. And the beautiful thing about the game is it's just interactive and it's fun and it's silly. And there's no skill. It's just fun. And when you're playing with kids, there's also no reason to cheat. Because there's nothing about like, I won, I'm the best at this or whatever. Because you're going to win one, you're going to lose some, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That one's going to win, that kid's going to win, that person's going to win. Mom's going to win this game, dad's going to win that game, the kid's going to win this game. As long as you can roll dice, you can play Tenzi. Highly recommended. Go get yourself a copy of Tenzi. We've also been looking at baseball cards, opening up packs from 1988. We have a little time, so let's do that one more time. One of these days, I'll just do a whole show about opening up baseball cards from 1988. We'll flip them this way here. Let's see who we got. Here's the advertisement card. Let's see how many former Yankees we get. Mike Gallego. I liked Mike Gallego as a Yankee. He was fun. I remember Mike Gallego made an error and a lot of fans booed him, and he was quoted in the New York Daily News the next day saying, "You don't think I'm trying?" Like, come on. Mike Gallego is a good Yankee. Craig Lefferts, left-handed pitcher with the San Francisco Giants. But he was never a Yankee, but this guy was. Here he is in a Yankee card. Pat Clements, left-handed pitcher. Never quite, or not even quite, became what the Yankees hoped. Frank DiPino. Ozzie Guillen, great shortstop. Mark Ryle. Here's a Hall of Famer. Let's see if you can guess who the Hall of Famer is. He's pictured in 1988 on the California Angels. Before that, he pitched for the Milwaukee Brewers. I think that was before then. Pretty certain. I can't really see. The print is so small, but I'm pretty certain. And before that, he was a Los Angeles Dodger. He was a right-handed pitcher. And he won over 300 games. Don Sutton. All righty. Here's another guy who was a Yankee. He's on the Braves here. but he was a Yankee for a minute or two. I remember him more with the Baltimore Orioles, playing in a platoon during the Orioles pennant years. He platooned with John Lowenstein in left field. He was the right-handed hitting part of that troop. This is Gary Renicky. Here's a guy who I always wanted to be a Yankee, a New York guy, ended up being a Met. John Franco. Ross Jones. I don't know anything about Ross Jones. Terry Leach, another Met. Brian Holton. He might have been on the Mets too at some point. Doug Jones. I think we saw him the other day. Jeff Stone. And the last guy, shortstop Sean Dunston. He was supposed to be great, never really accomplished that. He was highly touted. But everybody said he was going to be the next great superstar, and he never really became that. All right, so if the Yankees are going to make a run, they're going to make that run because of their pitching. If you're a Yankee fan, don't expect them to get a lot of runs hitting because they're just not going to do it. And don't expect Giancarlo Stanton to come back. He's redundant at this point because the Yankees now have 3 first basemen and DHs who are sharing 2 positions already. If Stanton comes back, now you have 4 guys, so you have to try to get into the lineup. And one of those guys is Ben Rice, who's your best hitter. So now you're trying to get 3 guys into one position. It just becomes a nightmare. Stanton's not going to help things. Don't expect Judge to come back. He might. I have no idea. But even if he comes back, it's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks for him to get into baseball shape. And is he going to really get into the shape that he needs to be a dominant force in the middle of the lineup? I just don't think we can count on those things. So let's see what happens. Watch the Yankees, enjoy the Yankees, but more understand that when we root for baseball teams, we can be passionate about it, but we have to keep it in perspective. These things are fun. So it can be fun to say the Yankees drive me crazy. That's fun. It can be fun. They can be driving you crazy, which is less fun, but we got to keep it into perspective. The bigger, more important things in life are the bigger, more important things in life, like our health, our friends, our family, our neighbors, our religion, the things that matter, God, right? Focus on those things. Look to the good, be kind, make each day great for yourself. And when you do that, you're going to be making the day great for everybody around you. And give love, because when you do, it comes back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. But that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because it's the right thing. Because it's good to build everyone else up through your kindness and through your generosity and through what you can give through your heart. Have a great day. Let's go Yankees. And I'll see you again back here next Saturday morning at 7 a.m.